Hi, Dr. P here to talk about strategies for responding to the 8 awful truths of game marketing. Games are much like books in many respects, and a while ago I described from a game point of view the 8 awful truths of book marketing and showed how those work the same way in games. There were actually 10 in book marketing, but 2 didn't apply to games. Along with that original article by a book publisher were some notes on what to do about it. Strategies to respond to the awful truths, and that's what I'm examining this time. One was, the game is now pass-along sales. Pass-along, a piece of marketing material, such as an email newsletter, that goes beyond the original recipient. So whatever a pass-along is, it's passed to someone else, and possibly to more people, so that you reach more people than the original does to begin with. Typically this is an email newsletter, but it could be other things. Now you can start an email newsletter for free using MailChimp. The subscriber limit is something like 2,000. After that you have to get a paying account. Events. 2. Events immersion experiences replace traditional publicity in moving the needle. In books, traditional publicity is advertising and the book tour by the author, where the author visits many cities and many bookstores and signs books and talks to fans. Now authors themselves are running contests. They're doling out a book online one chapter at a time. They're using crowdfunding, and they're finding other ways to raise awareness. And these kinds of things we can try to do in games, perhaps especially at conventions. The third is community. Leverage the authors and publishers' communities. You're looking for your true fans. These are people who strongly appreciate what you do and will spend money for it consistently. Even 1,000 may be enough. 3,000 is better, of course, the more the merrier. Branding. 4. In a crowded market, brands stand out. Now there are personal brands as well as game brands. Command and Colors, which is a group of games by Richard Borg, is a tabletop game brand. Richard Borg is the personal brand. As I've heard Borg say, if you can use that game brand over and over, all the better, and that's exactly what he does. Britannia is a game brand of mine, and Louis Pulsfer is the personal brand. Digital channels. Master new digital channels for sales, marketing, and community building. We have Twitter, Facebook, Google+, YouTube, and there are others that I don't use, such as Instagram. Each of these digital channels can take a lot of work. Twitter requires regular attention, although not so much work. YouTube, if you have a video channel like my game design channel, is a lot of work. I'm not at all sure it's worth the time it takes to maintain these digital channels for selling games. I do find that I get ideas for writing and for making videos from digital channels, so there's a compensation. Now I, because of my online classes, can also reach theoretically 10,000 people who signed up for my online audiovisual classes, but many of those are freebies and they are not serious. There are lots of people who sign up for a class and then never pay any more attention to it. It's like they collect them. Big new idea. Build books around a big new idea. Can you do that with games too? Yes, but big new ideas are hard to find. An example of one recent one is legacy games. They're very popular, though I personally despise the planned obsolescence, which is a triumph of capitalism, and I mean that in a bad way. But think of the popularity of deck building at first. And of any new kind of game, but there just aren't very many new kinds of games. And the last one is dumb down. Front load the main ideas in books and keep books short. Well, in games we have shorter games, shallower games, more transparent games, that is, games where it's easy to see how you play well and there's not a lot of depth to them. That's the shallower games. Party games, more or less, and that's what a lot of people are doing. And whether you're willing to do that is open to question. I'm not willing to do that much. Now, none of these can take us back to the days of just a few games published. which resulted in lots of attention for each game, but we can try. Thanks for listening.